All right, folks. Hello, and welcome to the first Blackboard Collaborate session for the semester. Okay. So the idea we're going to be doing here today is the basic layout is we're going to go ahead and do a quick overview of the slides for this week and what we've been focusing on. We'll have some time for questions and answers in regards to any concerns people may have in regards to classwork or online issues or anything like that. So just bear with us here, and also while we're doing this here, I'm going to be trying to note everybody who's here so that I can say that yes, you attended the class for the class census. Okay. So I'm glad to see a lot of people here, including some folks that were saying they were having some issues trying to get on. So I appreciate you guys being here. I'm lucky I'm here too. We actually, where I'm at, we've just gotten the edges of Hurricane Laura passed through here probably about 2 hours ago. So all we got was drenched. So we lucked out. All right, so let's go through the slides here and see what we can talk about. So the slides for this week were the introduction to the course, the syllabus overview, and the start of understanding what exactly argument is that we're going to be dealing with. Okay. So let's start with the welcome to class. Okay. We're going to mostly skip through all of this because it's covered by the syllabus. But pretty much what this amounts to is the books that you're going to need, the software you're going to need, online access going to be required. Mentioned these great sessions that we're going to be having. All right, syllabus highlights includes the 6 writing assignments that you guys are going to be doing. The classical argument, the evaluative argument, the anti-bibliography, which is a team project, the proposal argument, the weekly discussion board. I have seen a lot of people participating in that, so that's good, and the final exam. Okay, late work policy, plagiarism policy. We'll try to do as much as we can with attendance. I basically have to just check and see who's keeping with classwork, and that's how we're going to do attendance. Be courteous, polite, and open-minded in discussions. Okay. YouTube lectures, 1 video a week. I have seen, I've got a number of people who've already subscribed to the channel, which is actually really good because you'll have the notifications before it shows up even on eCampus. You'll be right there. Okay, so they're going to be collected in a playlist. I've already started collecting them, that playlist, and if you need to review past lectures, you can look over it. Okay. This Collaborate session is going to go up on the channel as well for anyone who missed it. I was going to include the one I did for the other section that I have. For some reason, it's kind of weird. They've split I've got 4 sections of this class. You guys are 3 of those sections, and then 1 is separate for some reason. So the separate section does their Blackboard Collaborate before. For idea generation, for collecting ideas, for making sure that you have a lot of your ideas together. Okay. Here's the details on the icebreaker, which I see a lot of people have responded to, and I'm very thankful for that. Even though there is the assignment after participating with this. And this is my profile page here, just introducing who I am. Okay. Here we go to what is an argument. Okay, it's not what you're typically thinking of. What you typically hear referred to as an argument is typically just a fight. Okay, now when we talk about formal argument, it's a position taken by a writer or orator in a dispute, which they intend to prove using facts, logical reasoning, and refutation of the opposing viewpoint. Okay, so that's what this entire class is going to be about: is creating those kinds of arguments. All right. So you might be thinking, what's the difference between argument and persuasion? Well, that's the thing. Argument requires some element of logic to it, where persuasion mostly is just involving emotion. Now, I'm going to bring up my camera real big so I can show you this. I mentioned in the video on page 166 in the textbook, there's two persuasive pieces of advertising. Okay, they both involve water. Okay, one of them is an ad for bottled water. It's an ad for Nestle Pure Life bottled water. The other one is a public service announcement, and I misspoke in the lecture. I thought it was about water pollution, and what it actually is about is the carbon footprint that water bottles create. Okay, and it's produced by a group called Tappening.com. Okay, so I'm going to put up on the camera here. These are the two ads. This is how it appears in my version of the book on page 66. So there's two ads. Okay, you kind of see there that the Nestle ad is really kind of happy and really kind of, hey, look at this family. We're all together and we're drinking and we're hydrated. Isn't that great? But then you look at the other one, and that is showing how much smog is produced in the production of water bottles. And it's got some really tiny text in it, but they have it captioned in the textbook. It reads, last year, plastic bottles generated more than 2.5 million tons of carbon dioxide. Drink Tap, Tappening.com. Okay, which takes you to their campaign website, and that shows you what they are dealing with here. They're basically encouraging people to they're encouraging people to reconsider bottled water and instead just get the water from your tap, because that's what it's for, right? Okay. So again, main difference between persuasive work and argumentative work: that the argument is intended to advance understanding of the topic, while the persuasive work plays with the audience to convince them to think or feel a certain way. Now, one of the most common forms of argument in our modern era of internet media is asserting a position. That's a main purpose that a lot of people use for arguments. And there are some examples here of times when an argument's primary goal is to assert why action has taken place. We talked about this a little bit more in depth in the lecture, so I'm just going to skip over this here. That leads us to the first exercise, which I'm very happy that a lot of people have responded to already. If you haven't already, here is the exercise itself. You're looking at 3 social media platforms, such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, anything like that. Scanning the social media platform in question and locate examples of an argument being asserted by a poster. The worse the argument, the better. The less clear the argument, the less logical the argument, the better. Choose one of the arguments and attempt to improve it. Try to write it out in a way that sounds more logical and more academic. And I will say I'm really happy with some of the results I'm getting back on this, because there were a few people who chose to write out arguments behind memes. I hadn't really thought of this as a possibility. Yeah, if we can hold off till I'm through the slides, and then I'll have a question session, okay? So, all right. So, yeah, if you people doing memes, I hadn't really thought of that as a possibility. So I'm really happy with the way that's coming out right now. If you haven't done so already, the thread that you have to post your response to is under questions to the professor. Okay. Let's see. Then we have understanding argument in college. In collegiate setting, it's entirely about learning. Okay. When you argue points, you're trying to grow your knowledge and trying to increase understanding. Okay, advancing knowledge. Okay. There are actually some academic disciplines that are wholly based in argument, such as economics and social science. Okay. There's three primary structural parts to arguments, no matter what the discipline. Okay. Every argument should have a clear main point that is relevant to the academic discipline. You have to have some logical reason why you're supporting that argument, and it has to be easily discernible to the reader. They have to understand what the point is you're trying to make. Okay. Then there's appropriate support for claims. So you need to have reasoning for your claims that follows logically from your argument. It has to make sense. Okay. It can't just be I believe this because so and so says so, or I believe this because I'm always right, or whatever. You have to have a really good logical reason. Following that up, you also have to have evidence to back those reasons up. Okay. That evidence has to be based on fact, which leads us into the third part, which is shared assumptions or premises as a basis for the main argument. The big deal that we have to deal with here is that we are now living in an era where people say, where you present a fact, and you can just as easily have somebody say, your fact hurts my feelings, so therefore it's not a fact. Okay, that is not the way it works. Okay? So in order for an argument to actually be effective, you and your opponent must be able to agree on the base premises of the subject and be willing to acknowledge certain information as indisputable fact, even if it does give you a case of the bad feels. Okay, you're presenting a fact. I accept that is factual. Okay, you must also be able to verify that fact. Okay, you must also agree on what the definition of the limits of the argument are, the subject matter, and the credibility of factual sources. Okay, so if you have doubt about the credibility of where they're getting their facts, that is a legitimate complaint to bring up. Right, that's where we left it off with argument, and the last part of the lecture we was talking about creating your teams for both the annotated bibliography and for workshopping the major essays. Okay, I do want you to. I kind of messed up on this. I did not mention what the size of the teams should be, because I did notice that at some point somebody was talking about a group that was being composed of possibly up to 25 people. Okay, let me kind of nip this in the bud here. Okay, the teams have to be between 3 and 5 people. Okay, if you have less than 3, there's not going to be enough perspectives. If you have more than 5, you're going to wind up with something that's so unwieldy that nobody's going to be able to keep track. Okay, 3 to 5 is the best range here. Okay, and in fact, 4 is probably the best sweet spot for the. Okay, yeah, 4 is probably the best sweet spot for the groups, for the group sizes. Okay. Now, once you've agreed on your groups, then it comes down to coming up with team names. It doesn't matter what you name your team, it's just as a means of clarification for me personally. Okay, so I can identify you guys quickly. All right. Once we have the teams established and you come up with your team names, we're going to set up threads in the team discussions forum for each team that will list who's in each team. Okay. And again, the names could be anything. It could be as silly or as serious as you want to be. Okay. But the teams are primarily going to be used, and the forums are going to be used for communication during the class, especially when you get into that group project. And it's also going to be used for workshopping when you guys are exchanging drafts and giving feedback. Okay. So that should do it. That should do it for the overview of the slides. I'll go ahead and open it up to questions. If you have a question, just go ahead and use that raise hand button, and once I recognize you, you can go ahead and ask away. All right. All right, Cody, I see you there. What's your question?
Yeah, so I was basically just wondering, I'm seeing all the on the discussion board, I'm seeing a bunch of different threads and a bunch of different, just all the different stuff, I guess, that's been posted we need to do. Um, I was wondering, I mean, I'll get it done today, but like I was wondering when all this is, I don't see like due dates on stuff.
Okay, that's because those exercises don't really have a due date. It's basically do them just to get practice. The only
Okay.
things that are the only thing that's going to have a set due date as far as assignments go is going to be those major assignments, and the MindTap stuff is going to be has to be all completed by the end of the semester, which is December 4th.
Okay. Okay. So just the discussion board stuff, just that's just practice on there.
Right, right.
Okay.
Now, another thing I wanted to bring up here: people are having MindTap issues. That is saying that you're locked out until August 31st. Now that I have no idea about. I have contacted Cengage about it, and they have not gotten back to me yet, which is kind of par for the course. I discovered that last semester. I asked for help on an issue with MindTap. They waited 2.5 weeks to send me a reply that basically amounted to calling me an idiot. So they didn't really give me a lot of help here. I've requested a clarification on this, but I'm not expecting anything forthcoming. What I could basically tell you is there's not really a schedule for those activities in MindTap. It's basically whenever you can get to them, it's at your own pace, just as long as you can get everything done before the 4th of December. Okay, 4th of December, the course locks and you won't be able to do anything else. Okay, however, what I would recommend right now is just wait and it'll unlock on Monday, according to the message. Go ahead and wait till Monday, and then go ahead and get started with it. Okay. So yeah, that's good. How about let's get some more questions out there. All right, Samuel, I see you there. Go ahead with your question.
Some connectivity problems, so I'm not sure if I didn't really get all the information that you shared on, for today on today's lecture. How again do we are we chosen for our teams? Is it kind of just random, or do we choose our own teams, or how is that done?
You're picking your own teams. You're bringing yourselves together and forming teams between 3 and 5 people.
Okay, yeah, that's all I wanted to know. Thanks.
Okay. Cody, I see your hand. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just wondering, how do we choose, like, where do we go to, I guess, find our teams? I don't really know how to ask it, but
Well, one option you have right now is there is a private chat function, or there should be anyway. Let me see. I've got a everyone and a moderator. Let me see if this will let me. 1 minute. Let me see if I can find the settings so I can set up a private chats here. Okay, but yeah, if I can get this set up, you can actually try to set them up right now by talking over some people that are in the session. Let me see here. There we go. Details. Let's see. It doesn't give me an option. You should be able to do a private chat. So let me see.
I see chat, and it looks like I can search people. It says like find someone to chat with.
Yeah, if you can do that. Okay. Yeah, so I have sent a chat message when you go through the participant list. Okay, so yeah, you should be able to, so you should be able to do private chats with each other to set up teams if you want. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So the next question I had. If you're asking a question while I was looking that stuff up, could you please put your hand up again? Okay, Fatima, I see you there. What's your? Go ahead.
Hi. Well, I'm talking to one of my groups, and she's saying that, well, she's in a meeting, but says that you haven't started, and I'm guessing there's other people in there too.
Yeah, I just sent her a message here.
Okay.
The okay, so all right, so some people were supposed to show up at noon to if they're in one of the other sections. As I was explaining before, they've split up my sessions into on eCampus where you guys are 3 different sections that are using the same eCampus page, and then they be a separate eCampus page for a 4th section. Okay, that 4th section met at noon, and I only had 3 people in the session, and none of them talked. Okay, so now I have a lot of people who are trying to get into that session, and that session's already closed. Okay, so if you can pass that along to your friend there, she can let them know.
Okay, thank you.
Getting a lot of. All right, I'm going to have to do something about that there. I'm getting a bunch of emails from people section because the announcement was printed wrong. Okay, so I'm going to have to try those guys again. Okay. So while I'm doing this, you can go ahead and shoot me with some more questions. Okay. Looks like somebody's in chat. Let's see. Team. Yeah, you guys are going to be you guys need to form your own teams and let me know who's in the teams and what your team name is. You can do that through email, or you can do that through the questions to the professor thread, forum rather. Okay. And those teams have to be 3 to 5 people. Okay, so we got I'll allow that. The people don't worry about the team names. I'm okay with that as long as we don't spell out what the acronym stands for. So yeah, let me set up. I will set up your team thread as long as you can tell me who is on that team. see. Then we have Team Earthbenders. Okay. All right. Again, I just need a team list. Okay. All right. I'm setting up your threads right now. Just when you get a chance, go ahead and send me that team list. Okay. Let's see here. Find some paper. All right. And by the way, don't worry about the section numbers, since you guys are all together on this one in this particular eCampus page. I will allow crossover between sections. Okay. Textbook I showed earlier, that's my version of it. It's an abridged version. Okay. You guys are going to probably wind up with a full version of it, especially if you get a book version. But yeah, that's required material. If you have, and incidentally, if you have MindTap access, you already have access to that textbook. There's a copy of it that's accessible through MindTap. Okay, and it looks like I've got a team list going here. So I will go ahead and post that so that you guys who is on your team. All right. All right, so your team has its team membership list up on the discussion board. You have a thread prepared for you, so you can use that for discuss. Let's see. All right, I see it, Cody. Go ahead.
You said you already created the threads for the teams that we did in the chat.
I've got threads for team WAP and team Earthbenders.
Okay, cool.
That's what I just created. Now a bunch of people have also created threads for their own teams. So just looking at the board right now, I see a Team Tokyo, Wolfpack, Team Group Chat, Team Forming, okay? Or that might actually just be a general thread there. All right. FYI here. Let me make sure I get everybody marked off here that you're here. Let's see. Okay, Trevor, I see you there. What's your question?
Hey, sorry about
Hey,
that.
just want to let you know there was about 20 of us in the course of the other room, and we were trying to figure out where everybody was. So I'm telling them all to come over here now.
We,
All right,
we
that
got
works.
confused.
That works.
How are y'all?
Okay.
I'm here. Sorry, Estela.
Okay, that's fine. We're in the middle of the question and answer session. Go ahead if you have a question for me. Go ahead and use the raise hand button to let me know. Once I recognize you, you can go ahead and ask.
There's no audio.
Yeah, I had some signal issues. Just FYI for the people who are coming in later here, where I'm at in the state right now is on the edges of where Hurricane Laura's passing through, so I may have some signal issues going on.
All right, that's cool.
Audio.
So right now, most of the people are using private chats to try to assemble teams for the semester. Yeah, some people are having trouble with the audio. I'm really not sure why. That might be a signal issue. Okay, that's probably audio issues are probably a signal issue. Okay.
Okay.
Just FYI, if anybody misses anything here, I am going to be posting the video of this to YouTube, so you guys will know what you've missed out on. Okay, if you can't hear me, you'll be able to watch it in the video.
All right.
Okay, Temis Jen, I see you there. Go ahead with your question.
Me?
Yeah, you.
I didn't have a question.
Yeah, okay. Just I saw the raise hand for Temiskin.
Oh, I think I might have accidentally clicked that, or I don't know what. I didn't have a question. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, so a lot of people are, if you're having audio problems, try signing out and coming back in.
Oh.
No, I see it there. Go ahead with your question. What is due this week? Okay, there's really not much due this week other than I would recommend, if you haven't done so already, go ahead and post a response to the weekly discussion board. Because that's the main thing that's covered weekly. Everything else that has due date for it, MindTap's due date is the end of the semester to get everything done in it. And the major assignments have due dates that are corresponding to the units in the syllabus. Typically, the due dates for the major assignments are going to be either the last week of a unit or the first week of the following unit. Okay. When I give those assignments, I'll actually give you the due dates.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, Mohammed, I see you there. Go ahead with your question.
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I think you might have. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I'm looking for Mohammed. He put up his hand. Yeah, I see you there, Mohammed. Go ahead with your question.
Can you please repeat again the due dates for this week? Sorry about that.
That's okay. The only thing that's really due this week is the weekly discussion board. So if you've already done that, you're covered.
Okay.
The other stuff is going to have due dates that I will mention when I give the assignments. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, Cody, I see you there. Go ahead.
For the discussion board, are you talking about the let me see, where it says the weekly discussion topics or the forming
That's the week.
of the team?
That's the weekly discussion topics.
Okay. What day is that due?
No, it's just on a weekly basis. Do it sometime during the week. It's basically what it works.
Ending on Sunday?
Yeah, pretty much. You have to have a certain number of them done by the end of the semester in order to get a full grade. So as long as you can keep up with them on a weekly basis, you'll be fine.
All right, makes sense. Thank you.
All right. Emma, I do see your hand there. Go ahead with your question.
So with the Mind Tap, is that like a go at your own pace type of thing, or is there due dates on the assignments in there?
MyTap is go at your own pace. The only real due date is the end of the semester, which is when the course locks.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, Fatih, I see your hand there. Go ahead with your question.
So do we have to wait until the Mind Tap unlocks in order to start working?
Yeah, unfortunately, I haven't gotten a reply back on the reason why they've locked you guys out until next Monday. I did set those classes to start this week. And as I was saying earlier, Cengage's tech support is less than stellar. So I would say just go ahead, wait for it to unlock, and then once it does, go ahead and start doing stuff. Cody, see you there. What's your question?
Hi. So I joined the this session with a bunch of other students in the wrong chat, and we're all kind of confused about these weekly meetings. Are they optional, or are they required?
They are optional. The only classes that are doing required sessions are the ones that were set up as in-person classes, and they're having to do it during their class times. Mine were set up as internet classes, so I do not have to do specific times, and I can do optional sessions. Okay.
Okay.
These are not required, so if your schedule doesn't match up with them, that's fine. As I mentioned, I'm going to be posting them to YouTube, so if you miss one, you can always watch the video to catch up and see what you missed.
Okay, thank you. I have one more question.
Yeah.
For someone who missed the lecture this week, I just got home from being out of town today. I'm just wondering, is there anything else we should be working on this week besides the weekly discussion board?
There's some exercises that were they're mentioned in the slides and in the lecture. There's a social media argument exercise and an icebreaker. I would recommend doing those. They're not really graded. It's more for practice. But I would still recommend doing those before the next lecture, which is going to be next Monday. And also, if really because they're on YouTube, you can play those lectures anytime.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yep. All right. Mehrab, I see your hand there. Go ahead.
So I was with the other people on the wrong chat, and they were talking about a group. I don't know which group I am in right now.
Okay.
Or I'm in a group or no.
You would know for sure because you guys are making the groups yourselves. I'm not making the groups. So you guys are going to create your own groups and keep them for the entire semester.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. All right. And one thing I might want to do here, just real quick, is go over. We'll go over briefly the subject of the discussion board topic, in case you haven't seen it yet. Okay. So the discussion board topic for this week is titled "Students Getting Cheated." And just as general guideline, the way these are going to work, you're going to get information about a current events topic that's happening fairly recently in the news, and you're going to receive a discussion question associated with that you'll have to answer. Your questions for those discussion topics are going to be ones where you have to take a side and where you're going to have to take a side and you're going to have to argue for that side. Just real quick here, discussion groups come into play when we do workshopping for the major essays and also when you guys are doing the annotated bibliography, which is a team project. Okay, back to the discussion board. Weekly discussion topic. So the week one topic for you guys is about the United Kingdom and their school system. So, to give you the basic overview of the story here, last March when the COVID-19 pandemic hit in Great Britain, schools shut down. In the US, where we tried to find some alternative ways of continuing classes. What they actually did was entirely shut down their school districts for the year. Okay. As a result of that, a lot of students were scheduled to take end-of-year exams. Many of them were equivalent to high school seniors, so these exams were necessary for them to get placement in universities. So as a result of them closing the schools before the exams could be given, the teachers of all the students were asked to turn in speculations of what the grades those students would get on the exams. Okay, and that was how they were supposed to issue exam grades for those students. What wound up happening was the grades were sent to a third-party company that was contracted by the government. The government was concerned about grade inflation because the teachers were too close to the students. So as a result, they put in the teachers' recommendations into an algorithm and calculated them against other factors to determine virtual exam grades for those students. Now, when those grades came back a few weeks ago, there was a huge uproar because 40% of the students had lower grades that the algorithm gave them than what the teachers gave them. Those lower grades for a lot of the students meant that those students that had already been admitted to universities, they had been those students that had already been admitted to universities, they lost their admissions because now their exam grades were too low. And for those 40% were largely students that were in public schools and in schools that were in lower income areas. There were students whose grades remained the same, and 2% of students actually got a higher grade from the algorithm. Those students came from more private schools and more affluent areas. Well, as it turns out, what they quickly discovered about this algorithm was it was programmed to include historical performance on those exams as part of the factors for the grading. So basically, these students were getting graded not only on their own work, but on how students from years and years and years in the past had fared on those same exams. And it was a natural disadvantage to those students who were in these poorer areas because, generally speaking, lesser resources equals lesser performance. Okay, so after a lot of protesting, a lot of letter writing, a lot of hand wringing, all these students were given back their grades that were given by the teachers, and the others were given the option of taking either the teacher grade or the algorithm grade, whichever was more favorable for them. Okay? So your question for the week is to consider the algorithm, argue for or against the use of that algorithm, and also create a proposal on what could be done to improve the algorithm so that it's more fair. All right, Edwin, I do see your hand there. What's your question? All right. All right. So yeah, the so discussion topic that will change from week to week. It'll all be based on current events, and really the best tactic for you guys would be to keep up with it. Okay, I saw Edwin's question is where does he send the team name? Go ahead and just type it in the chat, and I will set up the thread as it goes along.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, so yeah, well, if you guys want, you can use the private chat function on the. Thank you. You can use the private chat function to form up teams. You can ask for team admission. Let's see.
And so the max is just 4 or 5.
Yeah, the max number should be 5. 4 is a really good number. It's a good middle ground. 3 is the minimum. 5 maximum.
Okay, all right. Well, some people in the chat are saying that they need a team, and
yeah, I've seen that. Those of you who are saying you need a team, probably a good idea to just find out who you guys are and get together with each other. Okay, because I can tell you right now, the teams that I have in the printer are teams. Okay. I have 2 that are called Team Group Chat, which looks like that's people who were forming teams. Okay.
Oh, I made one of those.
Yeah, I see that. The ones I have actual team names for, I have Golden Team, Team WAP, Team Earthbenders, Team Tokyo, Wolfpack, and Wolfpack is the last one.
My group is gonna meet after the lecture and discuss what name we want to come up with.
Okay, that's fine. If you want to do that, you can go ahead and just email me the team name, and I also need the membership so I know who's in it.
All right, I got you.
Okay. All right, we're coming up on 9 minutes left on the session, so this would be a good time for any last-minute questions anybody has regarding forming teams, regarding the lecture, regarding any issues that you may have.
All right.
Okay, Cody, I see your hand. What's your question?
What? So we only meet on Thursdays, right? Not Tuesdays.
Yeah, it's just Thursdays for this particular collaborate. It's gonna just be Thursdays.
Cool.
Are we done with our session?
We're just doing a wrap up here. If anybody has any last minute questions, we got about 7 minutes left.
Okay.
Cody, what you got?
Our first like major essay is due on the 18th, right?
Let me just double check that against my slides. So when I give you the assignment, it's going to have the due date in it. Just give me a second here. I'm going to check it against the slides for that assignment.
I'm in the right place.
Okay, the actual due date for that first essay is September 24th.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and I'll talk about this next week in the lecture, but in the lead up to that due date, you will have 2 workshop weeks where you will be able to work together and offer feedback to each other on anything that may be going on in those essays. So 2 weeks, the week prior to the due date is going to be the vision session. The due date is going to be the proofreading and editing. We'll talk about the difference between those two next week. All right, Mohammed, I see you there. What's your question?
My question is like I kind of like lost because like about the syllabus, the first essay was due on September 18th. Like it said like you need 1 classical argument. Which one is right actually?
All right, let me see the syllabus here because I did not actually put dates into the syllabus.
Yeah, because it said that you need 1 classical argument is August 24th until the deadline is the September 18th.
Oh yeah, well I also. Oh yeah, okay, I see. So yeah, September 18th is the end of the unit. Okay, but the actual essay for that unit is due the following week. Okay.
Okay.
You may have missed this. You may have missed this, but I mentioned before the due dates generally for those essays are either going to be the last week of a unit or the first week of the following unit.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr.
So, yeah, no problem. So in this case, the due date on that first essay is going to be September 20, actually be 25th because 24th is a Thursday, but it's going to be the week of September 21st, which is the first week of the following unit. And again, I will get into all of this in next week's lecture because we're going to have the details of that first assignment, and we're also going to be doing some other stuff to get you more prepared for doing classical argument.
All right.
Okay.
Did we lose him?
No, I'm still here.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm still here. Just last call for questions here.
So you said the first assignment's due on the 27th, the 24th, first writing assignment.
Yep.
We have workshops next week. And why was it again that nothing's opening up on MindTap until the 31st of August?
That appears to be a system glitch at MindTap because I set those classes to start this week. And I've had no response from Cengage yet. So right now, I'm going to say just go ahead and wait for it to open up on the 31st and then start doing the MindTap work. As it is, there's no set dates for that MindTap stuff other than it all has to be done by December 4th.
And the last day of class is December 10th, correct?
That's the last day of finals week. The last day of semester is December 4th.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, it's funky, but they kind of want us to differentiate between the two. So
To me, I mean, with finals, even though they're really quick, is that it's still school then. I've had teachers teach up until until really the final week.
yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna do that too much. I usually by the time I get to the last week of class, we're really just winding down things and ramping up for the final. Make sure everybody's ready to take it.
How will the final work? I know it's a long ways. It's 15 weeks, but
Well, as far as the timed aspect goes, you guys are going to pick proctors locally in order to time you when you take the exam. As far as the content of it goes, I'm going to have a packet produced for you about halfway through the semester. It'll become available to you about that time, and you can use that as a means of study and practice before the final. The one thing about that packet is you can't use it during the final exam period.
but how will it work? Will it be like multiple choice or?
It's an essay.
Oh, it's an essay.
Yeah, I don't do multiple choices in composition. It's about writing.
That makes a lot more sense. Okay.
Yeah. All right, so we are at 2 o'clock now. I'm going to go ahead and end the session here. Thanks everybody for showing up. I do apologize for any technical hiccups that we've had. We will try to get those smoothed out in time for next week, and we'll make sure everybody's in the right session at the right time. All right, I will see everybody then, and look for a new lecture posted on Monday.
All right.
Thanks for coming.